Welcome back, traders. Make sure to stay the full length of the video because we have some juicy DD today. And I wanted to start with the one, the only, Michael J. Burry, Cassandra Unchained on Twitter, saying, "My apologies. There's just been way too much to organize. Cannot make this Sunday deadline." So what's so big about him not making the Sunday deadline is he also spoke about on a separate platform is that there is just so much to compile in his story. And I do believe he's going to give a pretty in-depth, pretty much episode, right, of what he believes to be or what he lived through to be the Gme Short Squeeze Saga. And I am genuinely curious to hear what this man has to say because he is anti-fraud. He is anti-corruption, and he has seen it all. So I'm very, very curious to see what he says, and very, very curious to see how that affects the GME chart. Because in case you guys don't know, we're going over ticker symbol GME tonight. And I just want to give you guys an update on the ticker symbol because nothing has changed. I just want to also say, we have absolutely pinpointed what this thing is going to do. We talked about a potential inverse head and shoulders. Now that was not likely because we had talked even during our falling wedge that you have this new established resistance. And what you did was you broke the falling wedge. You came exactly up, right? You came exactly up to your previous support trend, your uptrend. You rejected it, formed a rising wedge, had a false breakout during earnings, tapped this resistance trend, and then absolutely dumped from the rising wedge. So not surprising at all, and actually a testament that TA actually does work. Believe it or not, right? TA does work. And you can see here on the 4-hour, just to give you guys a little bit more of an in-depth on the ugly look, you have that rising wedge. And if you took the profit target, right, that is your first initial move in the wedge. You put that on top of the breakdown. And where does that lead you? Almost bottom ticks your move during earnings. So once you saw that move, you bear flagged. And you're doing some weird stuff now that Michael J. Burry has entered the chat, guys. You're doing some funky business. But what I am looking to see is this stock actually break down one more time, as stupid as that may be, right? Because that is not what GME should be doing. GME is far and behold undervalued right now, in my opinion, and it is DFV, guys. This is deep value, in my opinion. But if you do take the trend line move, your move down, and that's pretty much what you should expect, give or take a couple cents, as your next move. Now, what is so important about that? That is technically confluent, guys, with the bottom of your falling wedge. Now, the falling wedge is a bullish reversal, pattern. Falling wedge, bullish reversal. Success rate. I just want to see, based off of AI statistics, what is the success rate of a bullish falling wedge? Now, when we look at Gamestop, you can see on the, that's Neo. When you look at Gamestop, you can see not just on the 4-hour, but you go to the daily chart, guys, and you look at how macro this is. This goes back all the way to May, right? So you have what is that now? I don't even want to do the math. You have almost half a year of trading in this falling wedge. And when this thing breaks, guys, I think it's going to be nasty. We talked about a bull pennant here, right? You didn't get that move. You got a 26, 27, 28% move up to your point of control. Broke down, got into a falling wedge. This falling wedge break was kind of nasty. People were calling MOAS. But we saw it a mile away. And you are playing this macro falling wedge. Now, if you saw this break, if you thought that was nasty, right? just wait until this thing breaks. I'm genuinely excited. I do anticipate these gap fills to fill because the more you test your point of control, guys, I am convinced this is how trading works. The more you test your point of control, the more often and the more likely it is to break. The more you test a resistance. So you have 1, 2, 3. You broke it there, and you just saw how explosive this stock gets above $28 because that is the almighty horizontal resistance on GME. And let me prove to you why, right? GME is a story of $28. And all you have to do, guys, is pull up your VRVP, your volume range profile. And what is that going to do? Well, that's going to tell you your max volume on the chart. You can see it actually outlines for me $28, and it gives me your VRVP. Now, I do not like this one specifically. Let me pull up the other one. VRVP. Give it a little loading time. Come on, baby. So you can see almost perfectly spots that $28 level and then gives you that horizontal trend. So you see how many times you've smashed, just been absolutely obliterated by $28. Obliterated here, obliterated here, obliterated here. Smash through it. You see a retest. And this could have been a moment, but you saw a rejection. Smash through it here, rejection. So once you break out of this falling wedge, guys, this macro falling wedge, I think you're going to get back into this channel. You're going to test 28. And what you do once you test 28 is going to determine the macro schematic of GameStop. Because if you come up here, you reject, maybe you retest the wedge, you get one more shot. If you fail that, guys, it is going to be an ugly ride down. But if you succeed, you're looking at this, right? You're looking at a macro reversion flipping what has held you down throughout this entire accumulation schematic, right? So when you go back to Webull, I am watching for a touch of bullish divergence off of the lows here at $19. Now, that is going to be one of the greatest opportunities as a GME shareholder that I think we have ever been blessed with. And let me tell you why, right? You have a company sitting on $10 billion of cash on hand and liquid assets in Bitcoin. Profitable quarters, 6 in a row. Ryan Cohen using the squeeze filter during earnings going right, just absolutely tomfoolery. You have The Big Short, Michael J. Burry. Movies were made about this man. Commenting about GME. Unfortunately, it was delayed, right? And part of me thinks that it's all just part of a game, right? We need it to go down to 19 because that's what the chart wants us to do, right? And I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is probably gonna be pretty bloody, unfortunately. And I'm happy to be wrong, right? I want to be wrong because I am long to the gills on GME. But I think that this creates one of the biggest opportunities of our lifetimes in GME. So additionally, within the share price, you have the daily MACD crossing down, which I think supports the breakdown here on GameStop. And then on the weekly RSI, you have rejected the RSI band, same way you did here, and you saw a move down after this top, right? So what I want to see if we're bullish is a mean reversion, cross back above this, right, to deny your daily MACD cross down, and then to regain your weekly MACD cross, because you had it. You literally flipped green. But the bearish downside pressure actually rejected this, which is a bull trap, unfortunately. Off of earnings, go figure, right? It's just how the stock works. So you had a weekly bullet or bearish engulfing pattern on lower volume, which is fascinating. So I'm watching the next couple of weekly candles. What I want to see dry liquidity. I want to see a big fat nothing burger. So when this thing does absolutely nothing off of this Michael Burry news, I would not be surprised, right? I think the market might get a little bit more optimistic, hoping to be wrong, of course, right? But I do believe you're going to come down to this trend line. And when you do, guys, I want to see this thing bounce like crazy, make a higher low, and then boom, right? But specifically what I'm watching on GME is I'm watching on the daily time frame. Now, I want to see the RSI come right down to this territory, create a higher low, right? Even if you're oversold, create a higher low somewhere around the 30 on the RSI, because that is a buying opportunity, right? But then a lower low on the price. And what that's going to scream to me is that's going to scream bullish divergence. And I'm going to be pounding my fist on the table, guys, saying that Gamestop has looked better than it ever has fundamentally on the charts, and probably not the sentiment. And that's why I put in here the we're cooked trend line, because sentiment's going to be absolutely garbage down here if this move does play out. But I'm here for it, guys. I'm here for you. I'm here for the GME community. I'm here for AMC because inevitably these stocks are basket lumped together. And I think the larger scale here is you take a zoom out, right? And you see IWM hitting an all-time high off of 3 volume bars in the weekly, ramping up in volume. This is a textbook breakout, guys. This thing wants to run for the hills, but you may see a little bit of sideways consolidation here before you inevitably see that move higher, just like you got back here, right? Saw a bump your head on the resistance, sideways consolidation, and then you went higher. Here you kind of just gapped and went on IWM. It's another good example. That was 08. But here you did have an all-time high in IWM. Saw rejection, came back, chopped. Saw rejection. Oh, that's COVID. Then you saw that crazy rally. That's 2015. 2015, you actually did something similar, right? Saw rejection, came back to the 50-day EMA on the weekly, and then sprung like crazy. And so what I'm waiting for is I want to see this volume come in, this volume bar, right? Something crazy on IWM, and you haven't seen it yet. You've seen a flip of the weekly MACD, you've seen an all-time high, and you've seen an increase in volume. But what I'm waiting for is that boom, boom candle, right? You want to see confirmation of this thing doing the absolute dirty in order to aid NEO, right? In order to aid AMC, and inevitably in order to aid GME. And what I think, well, actually, let's bounce back to Grok and see the bullish pattern odds. So bullish breakout upwards occurs 68 to 82% of the cases. Price target achievement ranges from 62 to 88%. Overall reliability of reversal pattern cited to be around 55 to 74%. And that's why the falling wedge pattern is one of my favorite. False breakout occurs 10 to 27%, so risk management is essential. But it is honestly one of the most accurate and one of the most consistent reversal patterns that I've noticed in the market. So the fact that we are in a falling wedge on GME just gets me absolutely delighted, absolutely jacked. So I'll continue to cover this, guys, and I'll continue to cover what GME does in regards to this Michael Burry big short news, because it's coming sometime this week. I don't know when. Let's see if he's given any updates. No, it just says I will drop it late. My apologies. Cannot make the Sunday deadline. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Unfortunately, it's gonna come out sometime this week. I will cover it either live through a short or through a post because I want to hear what this man has to say. With all of his years and years and years in fraudulent markets, and hopefully, right, he can spark a bigger conversation of what is going on with AMC, what is going on with failure to deliver, what is going on with naked short selling, right? Because this is the exact same crime that stemmed from the mortgage crisis, right? Making synthetic CDOs, right? These are synthetic shares that are owned floats over, right? So same thing that happened with GameStop. 158% of the float, I believe, was synthetically shorted. Are you kidding me? So I'm genuinely curious to hear what this man has to say. None of this is financial advice, but GameStop to the moon, AMC to the moon, and God bless each and every single one of you guys. I love you all. Subscribe and peace, guys. Much love.